Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David. How you doing tonight?
Good. That was a much better outcome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's a better effort. Game 2 was, just before we went on, I was just saying how often hockey comes down to goaltending and to bounces. And if the Oilers had gotten a little bit better goaltending and better bounces against Vancouver, certainly in the second game, they would have won that game. This game was a slaughter, 6-1 over the Predators of Nashville. So what do you think?
And yet, what was the total count of grade A shots?
The total count of grade A shots was...
Interested to know.
17 for Nashville, 16 for the Oilers. And when we go to the subset of 5 alarm shots, it was 8 for Nashville and 7 for the Oilers.
Huh.
So exceedingly close. Now, some of that was score effects.
Yeah, for sure.
Nashville came on in the third period and got, they got the last 4 grade A shots of the game.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, Edmonton kind of stopped trying to score a whole lot. And, down the stretch of that game, they had a comfortable lead, and they were comfortable to play it out. And Nashville pushed and got a couple of bounces and a couple of decent shots.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at natural stat trick all situations. They had it 9-8 in high danger chances for the Preds and 2.97 to 2.99 in expected goals. Let's call it 3-3, shall we? I don't like that many significant digits on some of these speculative stats, frankly. But anyway, it was an evener game than the score. That's all I'm getting to.
Yeah. Our expected goals were higher than that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a track meet in a lot of ways. I mean, Nashville, maybe if they got in the lead, they would have played differently, but they were playing catch up and they opened up significantly.
43 shots
in this game, yeah. Bruce, this is our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers podcast. And because it was a crucial must-win game for the Oilers, we'll go with 2 good things each. What's your first good thing?
Well, I'm going to single out for the second time already this year Warren Fogle, who I thought had a terrific game tonight. They moved him up into the top 6 to much hue and cry from all the armchair GMs out there. And Fogle responded, I thought, with an outstanding game right from his very first shift when he made a diving defensive play to prevent a possible breakaway just inside the Edmonton blue line on a kind of bouncing puck that looked like it had bounced favorably for Nashville until Fogle made the hero play to sweep it away. And I just thought he just kept right on bringing it. He made a beautiful pass on the Zach Hyman goal from just from the bottom of the right circle, and he just whipped it right across the low slot to Hyman at the left edge of the crease, and Hyman was able to hack it in from there. Gorgeous pass. And then he, of course, was rewarded himself with the last goal of the game on another splendid play, really, with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman, and he buried a shot from the slot. And then even in the third period, he had another shot from the slot that he rang off the goalpost. Wicked shot. And I thought all around he was strong in a 2-way sense. And I mean, goal and assist +2, 2 shots, and a takeaway, a block shot. He was in frame, really all over the ice. And I thought this was one of his strongest games as an Oiler, to be honest.
He's looking good. I mean, I wasn't surprised they moved him up. He's been one of their best forwards since the start of the year. I mean, he's creating way more on the attack than either Kane or Connor Brown. And he has looked good. I mean, Holloway's looked good. But I think he deserved the call. He deserved to be advanced. I was surprised at how well the second line did. Nugent Hopkins as a center has never been my cup of tea. Like I've never seen him play, never drive a line, as they say, never play spectacular two-way hockey, or rarely play spectacular two-way hockey. But tonight he played very well. I mean, that line was out for 3 goals for. Now, Fogle wasn't out for one of them. Draisaitl was out for one of them. But 3 goals for, and for that line. And I don't think any against, none against, at even strength. So that line just created 4 grade A shots. At even strength, didn't give up any. They just had a hell of a game. And it's really good news for the Oilers if Nugent Hopkins can team up with Hyman and another player on a second line, because you do want to use that big line now and then. You know, when you're against certain teams that don't necessarily have a great top pairing defense, kind of a porous defense, I think it's not a bad idea to take advantage of that by teaming up McDavid and Draisaitl now and then, especially when you need a win desperately. But you have to have some other lines that can go. And tonight I just had the feeling, well, they've got at least 3 lines that can play hockey here. I mean, I thought the third line was good too, with McLeod and Holloway and Connor Brown. So, excuse me. Yeah, it was well done. Bruce, my first good thing, I'll just go with the obvious thing, which was Jack Campbell. I mean, our expected goals, excuse me, is 4.5, about 4.5. On that number of grade A shots, you can expect to get about 4.5 goals. So he let in 1. And he wasn't perfect. There was one, semi-bad rebound that it was kind of a lob, fairly hard lob, that he put back into the slot, and there was a good chance off that. But other than that, man, he looked solid. And again, he's looking. I'm not an expert on goalies. I can't speak about their technical play, so it's more like a sense that you get from a goalie. He's just looking steady, solid, confident, not giving out bad rebounds, generally speaking, making the first save. And he was, I don't know if he stole the game tonight. I would suggest that he might have. There was lots of good plays by the Oilers, so that's probably a bit of an overstatement. But he certainly outplayed the Nashville goalie. And in games, Bruce, where the Oilers goalie outplays the other team's goalie, I mean, how often the Oilers win that game with this team? It's almost always. Thoughts? Can't hear you. Are you on mute?
I am. You missed two or 3 poignant comments from me in there, probably.
You were. I could see you interjecting.
Rambling along. I turned the thing off while I went to adjust the lights, and then I forgot to unmute. Oh well. I was mostly agreeing with what you were saying about the performance of the lines. It wasn't just Fogle, but it was Fogle's whole line, and the third line held their own, and even the fourth line I thought had some good moments in the game, even as they certainly didn't dominate play, but they did have some good moments.
What did you think of Campbell?
Oh, Campbell was terrific. He made, I mean, that the save he made when it was right after Nashville scored to make it 4-1. Like the Oilers come out in the second period with the power play, and we'll get more to this in a minute. They came out in the second period. They gave up a power play. They gave up a power play goal, and then the very next play, they give up basically a breakaway, and Nurse gets caught up the ice, and Cece gets burned wide, and who was the guy that burst right around everybody, and Campbell made the scorpion save where he pulled up the.
How many times did Louis say scorpion save?
Quite a few. Yeah, I remember that
phrase.
That was a Dominic Hasek original to my experience, in terms of being the first guy I saw do that, where you think it's impossible, he can't possibly make that save, and he did. Anyway, for Jack Campbell, To make that say, I mean, if Nashville scores again, like 2 and 15
Yeah.
seconds, it's 4-2, and there's like 38 minutes left in the game. And half of the good work of the first period is undone in a minute. And so he made that enormous save then. So the timing of that save. But also, David, I thought in the first period, Campbell was great.
He
And he
was.
was
Yeah.
really holding Edmonton in there. Like the score was 4-0. I was looking at it and thinking, geez, I think Nashville had more good chances than Edmonton did. And he was just strong and dialed in, and as he's been for most of the preseason. Of course, he took a tremendous amount of abuse when he got beat for 4 goals in game one, where nothing went right for any order. And I just thought he bounced right back as well as he could possibly hope for with a dialed in game. Faced a lot of rubber, and I like his confidence. I like he's tracking the puck. You can see him him following the play. And last year there were times where he just didn't seem to even know where it was. And tonight he sure did. And most of the time it was in his glove or hitting his pads, or even got his melon on one shot from directly in front. And
Do you go back to him against Philadelphia on Thursday?
Tempting to. And I'm almost tempted still to just go 1-1 for a little bit. You go back to him in game Saturday night after Skinner plays Thursday. Like he could go either way, and I wouldn't have a big problem with it.
Yeah, neither would I. You're tempted to go back to him just because he played so well, right?
Yeah, and Woodcroft may well do that. And if he does, it's you can't blame him. And if he's wants to stick to his, I want to get both my goalies involved, you can't blame him either. But I would say at minimum, Campbell gets a start after the next one if he doesn't get the very next one.
You want to go with both goalies. That reminds me of the Mike Tyson cliche. Everyone's got a plan till they get punched in the face. Well, the Oilers have got to win some games, and suddenly you go back. You go back to riding the hot hand. You go do McDavid and Draisaitl on the same line. You do all the same old things that every Oilers coach has ever done. When you need to.
I was cool with the strategy today. I thought
so was
they're coming into this game, like people are losing already. They're panicking, and they're going, no, they got 2 options, and today they used door number 2 because Leon and Connor have had a long history of absolutely destroying the Preds, and guess what? They did it again. Like, tell me the coach was wrong. They produced enough goals, enough offense that for the team to comfortably win, and that's indeed what they wound up doing.
I'll use that as a segue to my second good thing. Leon is my second good thing. He was, again, the best Oiler on the ice for the second game in a row. He led the team. I thought he was the best Oiler. He led the team with 8 grade A shots, major contributions to grade A shots, 5 at even strength. 5 of those contribute, 3 on the power play.
2 of which were goals off his stick. On the
first goal on the power play was just what a smart player. He moves to the open ice. He just didn't stay on his typical spot there on the right half wall. He moved to the middle of the ice, and Hyman gets the puck. Easy pass. That's a great play for the Oilers, actually, for Draisaitl to sneak in there, because Hyman often gets the puck there, and he's often wondering what to do. Well, you have Draisaitl move in there, and all of a sudden, exactly what to do. Just make a little pass to Leon, and he will put it in the net, which is exactly what he did. The second goal, though, at even strength, though, was I liked his play even better, Bruce. The Oilers are in the offensive end. He wins the puck, first of all, and then he executes 2 give-and-go plays with the Oilers defensemen. First with Philip Broberg, then with Evan Bouchard. He gives the puck to Broberg. I guess Broberg put it over to Bouchard, actually, didn't he? That was the pass there, but he got it over to Broberg. Then Bouchard passes it to Draisaitl in the very high slot, and Bouchard moves in, and Draisaitl gives him a perfect pass. So he wins the puck and executes 2 wonderful passing plays. Bouchard puts it on net, and it's Hyman, correct, who puts that in. So just fantastic skill by all of those players. Broberg made a very nice stop at the blue line with his skate. to control the puck and get that puck over to Bouchard. Bouchard did his job. Hyman did his job. Nuge was involved in it too in the slot, bashing away
Mm-hmm.
there. So it was a fantastic team goal, and Leon showed his quality.
Even before those two passes that you described, there was another beautiful pass that Draisaitl made just inside his own blue line, where he just took a pass up to him to clear the zone, and he held it for a split second, and he just kind of tucked it through this little narrow port and right onto the stick of Nugent Hopkins, who was zipping up through the neutral zone. That's how they gained the zone in the first place. And it was just a slick little play where Leon, protect the puck, picked the time and the place and the lane that he wanted to put it in, and then executed perfectly. And away went. It's a subtle little thing, but that if you're going to rewatch that play on the video, Oilers
Back it
fans, and I
up.
know you owe video, back it up, as Howie Meeker used to say. Go back further, go back to where the Oilers got the puck. And I recommend this generally for any goal to review. Go all the way back to where the change of possession happened. Figure out how the team got the puck and then what they did. And in this particular case, it's a nice long sequence with a whole lot of good plays by a bunch of different players, including 3 fine passes by Draisaitl.
His second goal, I think, is underrated because it looks like he's got a wide open net. But it's just the kind of play. So this is on the power play, and Bouchard moves in and slams it towards the net, and it rebounds over to Draisaitl in his favorite goal-scoring position.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the kind of goal that about 80% of players will miss. They will not drain that shot when they have it because it's not easy. Puck comes to you fast. You got to move fast. You're nervous. You want to score. It's wide open. Leon he's just such a cool customer. Just slams it right in the net. And
and over the pad, under the glove, just rips it home.
He did. So this is just, again, his surreal skill of Leon Draisaitl. And I know, like, sometimes I've criticized him for his defensive play and this and that and the other thing, but I have always just so greatly admired that incredible amount of skill that Leon Draisaitl has and shows off on a regular basis. And it's why TSN just voted him the second best player in the NHL. Bruce, your second good thing.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to pick out this kind of wonder goal that McDavid scored to make it 4-0 late in the first period. This was kind of the nail in the coffin because it came just a minute after the 3-0 goal, and it was kind of a funky play. In some ways, it reminded me of the also wonder goal that Connor scored in his rookie season. Remember when he missed the 3 months with the broken clavicle, and he came back in the very first game against Columbus? He scored on a breakaway where all of there was just this pandemonium, and McDavid went into one side with the puck, and he came out the other side with the puck on a clear breakaway and deked out the goalie and scored. Another occasion, I think it was Jack Johnson. He was kind of a culprit on the Columbus side of the puck in that he had a chance to make a play and just didn't. And that exact same thing happened to number 45, Alexander Carrier, for Nashville tonight. I mean, there was 2 good passes, touch passes in the neutral zone. One from Kane to chip it to Draisaitl, and a second from Dry to chip it through to McDavid. McDavid kind of passed it off the boards to himself, and Carrier somehow just skated right by it. Like the puck was sort of just sliding along the ice, and he missed it, and that was his fatal mistake because McDavid, who'd been knocked down in the process, so he was down on one knee as he's chipped the puck through, and you think he's got no chance. And about 2 frames later, here's McDavid in a clear-cut breakaway beating the goalie. And it's just, how is that even possible? So
what was Carrier doing?
I'm not sure. So
was he going to the bench? Like did he
it's
have
a
his
wonder
mind
goal with
made
an
up?
asterisk for me. I kind of make an awkward swing at the puck, but I think he read it late. And anyway, he was the Jack Johnson of this particular piece, and people will remember the play by McDavid, but he did take advantage of opponent's mistake, which is one of the things you want to be doing in hockey. So, but there was kind of a glaring mistake in there. But it's such another one of these ones where McDavid goes from, you think, impossible odds to putting the puck in the net. Had another one kind of like that later too on the penalty kill, where he came racing down the ice and the defenseman beat him to the puck, and McDavid just took him to the corner and took the puck off and stepped out in front for a backhand shot. Just seemed, how do you even have the puck, let alone take it to the net?
Yeah.
And of all that, my favorite McDavid play of the game was early in the first period when he absolutely demolished.
Jeez, what a hit.
Number 15, was it? What's the guy's name? Oh, 75, Parsonen. And he just crushed him in the corner. It looked like the Nashville guy had the lead on him, and McDavid just went into the corner, walloped him, and, just came out. After the engagement, he had one hand on his stick, and he was able to reach out, make one dangle with it to pull it to his forehand, then chip a perfect sort of 8-foot pass up the boards to Draisaitl, who was in position then to walk it out. So not just the check itself, but his ability to maintain, gain control of the puck for the Oilers and do something with it with one hand. I mean, he does things on a gamely basis that are just sort of, how the heck did, you expect it from him, but you wouldn't expect it from pretty much anybody else. And he just pulls off these sort of routine little sleight of hand tricks.
That was the captain laying down the law.
Yeah, early. Yeah,
sending
I thought
a
that was a
message to his
statement,
team.
big time.
Totally, yeah. And it was kind of a Messier kind of play there. Bruce, my bad thing. Not a lot of bad in this game. But on the goal against, I didn't like Kulak's play. The puck goes behind the net, and Ekholm is battling for it with a Nashville player. And I can see how Kulak thought Ekholm probably had that puck, but it wasn't a sure thing. And instead of covering the front of the net, staying in front of the net, he starts creeping back to get the pass from Ekholm. The truth was there was no one, if Ekholm did put it over, just tapped it over, there was no one there who was going to get it before Kulak anyway. There's no one around him. He didn't need to go there. And so when the puck comes out front of the net, when Ekholm loses the battle and it comes out front of the net through Ryan McLeod, there's just a wide open shot on Campbell, and they score. And that was not, I'm just tired of seeing open looks in front of the other team's net, in front of the Oilers' net. It's going to happen, but I'm tired of it. After all these years watching Oilers hockey, and especially, the decade of darkness in this team, it's just an ongoing issue of these wide open shots in front of the net. So just cover the front of the net, men. Like, just bear down. It's like you mentioned Nurse's bad pinch when it was 4-1, right? This is like almost the next shift. And Darnell Nurse decides to do a 50-50 pinch. And I'm not going to rage against Darnell Nurse again tonight.
I thought he was pretty good for most of the game.
He was pretty good, but there was a few decisions that he made where I'm thinking again, and this was the main one, where what are you doing? What is that all about? Yeah. Why do you do that? How many years do you have to be in the NHL not to do that? And so anyway, and same with Kulak on this play. And I was not liking his.
It was a lightning fast thing. Like Ekholm had the puck. It looked like on his backhand, just behind the net. And it looked like he might have gained control of it. It was like Kulak sort of mechanically dropped back to give him a pass receiving option. And if Ekholm had dumped it right at that moment, a little short pass, Kulak would have walked it out. Anyway, Ekholm did not read what Kulak was going to do, and he tried to go the other way into two Nashville guys, and he didn't get the puck past him. And they centered it, and guess what? Kulak's not there anymore. Bam. So
yeah, mechanically, I'd just like to see them err on the side of caution, the defenseman, and not make that kind of mistake. Bruce, what's your bad thing?
Yeah, I was a little nonplussed, David, with the shifts immediately following goals, including the first two goals of the game scored by Edmonton. in each case, the very next shift, just about from the face-off, went straight back into Edmonton territory and stayed there for what seemed like forever. And it was like, oh, we scored. Now we can't do anything right for 30 seconds as a penalty. And it was like trying to play. I remember playing in television hockey with a broken controller, and the guys just skated to the boards and stayed there. And I just think, what are they doing? Like, clear the zone, win a puck battle, And after the first goal had happened, after the second goal had happened, and then after the 4-1 goal where Nashville scored their only goal of the game, that's when the very next shift led to that scorpion save off of the mammoth scoring chance. And it's just something they got to clean up. Like, you got a goal is scored, whether it's for you or against you. The last thing you want to do is have another goal scored, one against you, to either cancel the one you scored or double your pain from the one you just gave up. Consolidate things. Calm down. You got a veteran team. Just play it safe for the shift. Is too much to ask. So that by the second time, the first time I noticed right away, and I'm going, come on. Then the second time it happened again. And then by the third one, I mean, it was Jack Campbell's save that was in some ways one of the highlights of this game. But it sure came on the heels of just some careless play, and there's no real good excuse for careless.
When you said you were nonplussed, that word always gives me a pause. I always think, what does that mean? And I just Googled it, and I realize now why I have that question. Because here's what Google says. The first thing that comes up is, why does nonplussed have two opposite meanings? And the answer is, that's probably because a lot of people use this word to mean unfazed or not bothered by something, while others use it to mean unimpressed.
Yes.
Which is,
well, that was my meaning. It was the second one. Yeah. And
yeah.
Yeah, not phased. That actually does work with that word. It's one of those words. But as a viewer, I was kind of phased.
You were definitely. I was phased too. Well, I was very phased by that whole sequence.
So yes, that's nonplussed. In this case, they almost got minused, but instead they were just nonplussed.
Indeed. Bruce, let's go to numbers. So my number is 9. And that's the number of hits Dylan Holloway has so far this season. For forwards, he is second on the team now. He had 4 tonight. And I can't say that I really recall any of the hits tonight, but I do have the general impression of Dylan Holloway playing strong hockey this year.
Yes.
He's really getting involved. He's playing he looks like a solid NHL hockey player. And I think that 9 hits is representative of that. Evander Kane leads the team with 10. Darnell Nurse also has 9 hits. In terms of hits per 60, Adam Ernie leads the way with 21 per 60 minutes, and then Holloway's next with 16. So, yeah, good for you, Dylan Holloway. You're figuring out a way to really stick in the NHL, and I think probably eventually work his way up this lineup. And they're going to need, I think, Dylan Holloway to work his way up this lineup. They're going to need his speed, and I think his skill and aggression is going to be very welcome before the year's out in the top 6 is my prediction based on the preseason in the first 3 games. He's carrying it forward this year in the way he wasn't able to last year. He got put in the top 6 and he made a bad play early last year. But he's playing strong hockey right now.
Yeah, he caught my eye tonight in a good way with his positioning a couple times, where there was the puck came to sort of a conflict point, and he was in exactly the right place and able to deal with what might have been a problem just by being in a proper puck support role behind the puck for starters. And I got in my notes a little bit more detail. It's not springing to my mind at this moment, other than very strong positional play from the young guy, and that's always a real plus when when they're young, they can tend to be all over the place, and he can too. But he does make a lot of plays right, and I've heard other people make a similar comment about his play away from the puck.
Bruce, what's your number?
My number is 128. That is the number of career power play goals now scored by Leon Draisaitl, taking over the Oilers' all-time lead. Ahead of Ryan Smith, 126, Glenn Anderson, 126, Wayne Gretzky, 125, and then a huge, really tight race at the top for now, and Yari Curry at 107. So some pretty good scores in there, I'd have to say. And thing is, Draisaitl's done in 641 games what it took Brian Smith 971, Glenn Anderson 845, and even the great Gretzky, who in his Edmonton years was the most prolific goal scorer basically in hockey history, never mind all the other, apples and points. 696 games. So Draisaitl got to number one in fewer games than the great one had.
Wow. What about Curry? What was he? How many games?
He was at 754 games, 10 full
Wow.
seasons we got from Curry, and just a magnificent player. 1,043 points in 10 years. He played for the Oilers.
Wow.
So, but when it comes to power play points, well, now you have Gretzky 439. And McDavid at 293. That's how big the gap is there. Because Wayne had 314 assists on the power play, which is to say more assists than anybody else had points, which was a standard thing that you would hear from Gretzky over and over again. He would score a pile of goals, but he'd score more assists than anybody else had points. He did it in 4 different seasons. And here in a different context, though, where it's, he had basically 5 assists for every 2 goals. But McDavid, he's actually got 3 assists to every goal. He's got an even more extreme assist to goal ratio than Gretzky on the power play. So he's really a big time playmaker, McDavid. And obviously the goal of the entire power play is to circulate the puck to Draisaitl in some place where he can let fly, and that's it's been working. Draisaitl pots power play goals, and McDavid picks up the helpers.
Yeah. Gretzky. He comes from nowhere. He passes to no one, and a goal is scored. What a player! What a hockey player! I was just thinking I was talking with my wife actually about Gretzky earlier today, and one thing I would say about, and I wonder if you agree with this, Bruce. He feasted on weak players. And I think that the variation in the league was far greater between the very best players and the very worst players in the NHL at that time. Just the variation in skill set was far greater in the 1980s than it is today. I think even the weaker players in the NHL are actually really pretty solid, fundamentally sound hockey players with high skill sets. And it's just getting harder and harder for players to differentiate themselves from the mass of players than it used to be. That's my. I don't know if
much more systems play and stuff as well, but Gretzky used to, they used to push him hard to the end of the game. I was looking at some summary. One of the accounts I follow vintage Oilers, and I also follow Oilers game by game or day by day. 1983, they are now 40 years ago. And one of them posted a game score that had Gretzky opened the 83-84 season with at least 1 goal in 6 straight games. Well, in the 6th game, he did it with a power play goal at 19-something of the 3rd period in a 5-1 win over the Flames. They're just still pushing, trying to pile in the goals, and that was just how that team operated.
Sure did.
Probably didn't land too well with the Flames. That who knows what kind of penalty they may have been serving at that point in the game anyway. But he would just keep coming right into and through the 3rd period, and he would just overwhelm.
Yeah, he would have got 3 more points in the 3rd period of this game. Like that was his ammo. So Bruce, I want it. We're going to have tonight. I don't know if this will be a regular feature, but I want to go with the conundrum of the night. when Gene Principe dropped his hot dog on camera, if you were him, would you have eaten that hot dog?
Did he pay for it?
Well, someone did. Maybe he got it for free. I don't know. The media sometimes
Yeah.
gets stuff for free.
Well, how clean was the floor? How many seconds was it on the floor?
Well, this was the debate. Did you see this? Maybe you were not focused
I
on
heard
it.
about it. I didn't actually see the incident.
It was more than 5 seconds.
Oh.
5 seconds. And it was outside, as Jack Michaels exclaimed a number of times. Because Louis DeBrusk was saying that he would probably, I think Louis was indicating that he might have eaten it. And I would eat it. I don't care.
Yeah. Was the hot dog already dressed? Like, did it have like mustard and ketchup on it?
Someone cleaned it off
it was on the
before
floor?
he ate it. Someone cleaned it off before he ate, like his assistant there. Or something.
Okay.
But Bruce, would you have eaten it? Is the question.
Conundrum of the night. I'd have to actually be in that moment too. It's a pretty good chance I would eat it, especially if I paid for it.
Just reminds me of a story. Like one of my friends from Devon, he was caught eating a hamburger had been put in the dog dish.
Oh.
And he was caught grabbing that hamburger and eating it. I would not eat that. But a hot dog,
dog dish, probably not.
I would not eat. But the hot dog they dropped on the floor, definitely. I mean, it's a hot dog. Could there be anything worse on the floor than is actually in the hot dog? Anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Gene, he doesn't mind pushing the envelope. Gene is the best. Respect.
Respect. I like his haircut. He's got the nice trim locks to start the year. He went the Elliot Friedman route of shaving off the mangy mane and looking all sleek. So.
Well, speaking of haircut, shout out to Matthias Ekholm. I thought he handled his whole return home to Nashville with class. I thought he had a pretty darn good game tonight. One or two, difficult moments and a whole lot of, he put out more fires than he started. Let's put it that way. He had 2 or 3 good shots on net, but just the whole way that he was welcomed back in Nashville, just gave me a warm feeling of,
and he played well.
Fans love this player and for the same reasons that Oilers fans are going to and already love this player.
Yeah, and he had a much better. His first game wasn't terrible, just that one play, but he was pretty solid tonight.
They had a picture of him without his beard from like 8 or 9 years ago, which is how long it took him to grow that thing, I think. Anyway, that's what reminded me. But he's got to get a +1 in my grades tonight, just for.
There you go.
Just for coming through what would be an emotional time, I would suspect, in passing that test very well indeed.
So Thursday night in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
5:30 Mountain Time.
Good stuff. All right. I'll talk to you then, Bruce. Good to talk to you tonight.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.